All right, welcome to the release of the bracket here. Gonna give you guys all an overview of what we're doing here with the NCAA bracket being canceled, their NCAA tournament being canceled um, due to everything that's going on in the world right now. I figured that the world still needed a bracket, so we're gonna do it via College Hoops 2K8 on Xbox 360. Big thank you goes out to Eric Frankie and Rick Frankie for helping make this happen. They were two guys that have put together a lot of productions, and they're going to help me stream all this for you guys. So, a little bit on the why. First of all, who am I? Tom Yashinsky. I live in Onalaska, Wisconsin. I coach football there. Um, I am a huge football fan. I know very little about college basketball, but I have played a ton of video games, and we played College Hoops 2K8 quite often in college. We played my roommate Pete Willickett, who coaches at McFarland, and a good friend of ours, Ben Halverson, who's no longer with us. We played about 7 seasons of 2K8 when we were supposed to be going to class. So we are very experienced in that, and I wanted to put a tournament out there. So as soon as this got canceled, I told my wife, I said, all right, we're going to do this. She helped me make the commercial. She did all the audio for the commercial in terms of the music, trying to replicate ESPN's as close as we could without copyright infringement. And we and she's all in on it. So what are we going to do? I'm going to play all 63 games. Now there will be a play-in game because College Hoops 2K8 requires a play-in game, so we will have a play-in game. I will sim the play-in game. I do not plan on playing the 64th game. The first 2 rounds are going to have 7-minute halves, so that's 48 games. They will probably start on Wednesday in the evening. I plan on doing most of this in the evening, knowing that I have Wednesday through Sunday, and I'll probably roll it over into Monday to play 48 games. So that's going to be 6 days if I do 8 games. It's a long time, but we're going to make it happen. So, so 48 games, the first 2 rounds, 7-minute halves. The third and fourth round will have 12-minute halves. It's only 12 games, so that helps me out quite a bit. The fifth round and the championship game, so the final 4 teams and the championship game, those will play full 20-minute halves. If a game has a 15-point spread with 2 minutes left, I will simulate to the end, except for the final 4 in the championship. I will play on All-American difficulty. I will choose my team by a coin flip. Heads means I will play with the higher seed. Tails means I will play at the lower seed. If the teams are the same seed, I will pick the team with the sweeter mascot, meaning that the Richmond Spiders would be the team I would roll with all the way in terms of sweetest mascot in this tournament. So that's how we're gonna play it, and we'll go from there. If anybody would like to sponsor any part of this, any sponsorship money that I receive or any donations, anybody, I'm kind of hoping we can make this thing go big time. But we'll see how big we can make it. Anybody who donates or sponsors, all proceeds are going to go towards. I'm gonna donate it all to the school towards a turf field for whenever and they open up that project. I'll set this money aside, and it's all going to get donated to them for a turf field. So if it's $50 or it's $5,000, that's what I'm going to do. So if you want to sponsor a region, $50. I'll put your name on that bracket in that region. Put your picture, and we'll talk about you before the games in that region. 3 remaining. Hilltopper Refuse has already sponsored one of the regions. Title sponsor. You want to be the title sponsor for our tournament? That's $200. I will put your name at the top of our bracket, and you will get to be the title sponsor mentioned for every game. And if you want to sponsor an individual game, 5 people can sponsor an individual game. I will read your sponsorship before the game, halftime, and after the game. And we'll list you on the website, and everything is going to get streamed. So you can Venmo me at Tom Yashinsky or contact me there. if you want to sponsor. So the bracket, here we go. Scroll out so you can see the entire bracket. We had a little delay here. My wife is a school administrator, which is a tough spot to be right now with everything that's going on. She had an emergency meeting, which meant I was in charge of the kids. So we had to delay it. And then there's also a controversy whether Duke should be in or shouldn't be in based on them withdrawing before the tournament ever started. So after talking it over, we decided that it's the nation's tournament, and the Dukies might outrage if they don't get into the tournament. So we put them in. So let's go up here. We need a sponsor for this one, but we'll talk about it first. Again, I don't know much about college hoops and these teams this year. I took a projection offline and went from there and said, I'm going to make changes how I see fit. So Gonzaga, the number 1 seed up here. My sister worked at Gonzaga for 10 years. That alone warrants it to be a number 1 seed. Somewhere in this whole thing, I got a picture of me riding the Bulldog right outside the Gonzaga stadium. So they're my 1 seed. Robert Morris, they're the 16 seed, sacrificial lamb to the Zags. Providence in Colorado. Providence, shades of God Shammgod back in 1997 tournament. Looking for a magical run here. They're playing the Buffs of Colorado. BYU, I saw them beat Gonzaga a couple of weeks ago with one of the few college basketball games I've watched this year. They're playing East Tennessee State University. I don't know a darn thing about East Tennessee State University, but I gave them a 12 seed. Auburn, Charles Barkley's alma mater. I'm going to go against Bradley. Illinois, another Big Ten team here. They're playing Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin had a good run a couple of years ago. Let's see what they can do this year. Michigan State, the 3 seed. I love this matchup because we got 2 power offenses right here. Both these teams love to run the football between Michigan State and North Dakota State. The Bison, I don't know their tournament record or whatnot, but they're going to make a run at Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans. And Ohio State and USC, I thought that'd be a great football matchup, so I figured we'd make them play in the basketball tournament. Duke's going to play Winthrop. Duke was probably picked to be a 3 or a 4 seed, but I figure, you know what, the Dukies are going to get all mad if they're a 3 seed, and the whole world's going to get mad if they're a 2 seed. So let's hear the outrage and have people get mad at Duke being a 2 seed. Down here, Florida State will play the winner of the play-in game of Siena or UC Irvine. Arizona will play Oklahoma. Louisville, I don't think Louisville should be in the tournament. They're a bunch of cheats. But they'll play the Ivy League. Yale, we'll see if Yale can pull off the upset there. Smart kids, so they got a shot. Maybe they work on the geometry of banking in the basketball. Villanova, Jay Wright's Villanova team taking on North Texas, the Mean Green of North Texas. I think Nick Herring has had quite a run with the Mean Green of North Texas on NCAA 2014. Houston, the Cougars, playing Utah State, the Aggies. Maryland, Big Ten, co-Big Ten champion, I believe, this year, playing the Belmont. I think they're the Terriers up in Belmont. Michigan, the Wolverines will play Rutgers in a matchup of Big Ten mediocres. The Dayton Flyers, many thought they'd be a 1 seed. In my bracket, they're a 2 seed, just can't put a mid-major as a 1. Against Boston University. I don't know anything about Boston University. I've been to Boston. Maybe I walked past it a couple times. Hey, go Boston U. Welcome to the tournament. Over here, Kansas going to play Eastern Washington. Florida will play last year's runner-up, Texas Tech. St. Mary's, I gave St. Mary's a 5 seed. I saw some brackets putting them at an 8 or a 9. St. Mary's won the tourney in 2010 with Lincoln Wise and Patty Mills back when P.D. Willikett and I were running the show, so I gave them a 5 seed. They're going to play the fighting Jerry Farwells of Liberty University, some of the most conservative people in the world. We'll see if they run that shot clock down to 34.5 seconds every time before putting up that shot. Kentucky playing the best mascot in the tournament, the Richmond Spiders right here. We got the Butler Bulldogs. I love a bulldog. Playing the Akron Zips. San Diego State going to play Hofstra. Hofstra, that's a cool name. Virginia, last year's tournament champions, the Fighting Tony Bennett's from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, going to play Arizona State Sun Devils. And the Creighton Blue Jays, the Doug McDermott's of the world, going to take the Prairie View A&M, I don't know, probably the Prairie Dogs or something like that. Baylor, going to take North Carolina Central in the first round. LSU won a national championship in football this year, so they're gonna take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Iowa, the Hawkeyes, they did damage to the Wisconsin Badgers this year a couple times. They're gonna take on New Mexico State. Oregon, Colton Hogan's Oregon Ducks, taking on Vermont. Yeah, I don't know anything about Vermont. Never been there. West Virginia. All right, Pat McAfee's West Virginia Mountaineers going to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. I don't know what a Bearcat is. I know what a bear. I know what a cat is. I've never seen them together though. Wisconsin, they got a 3 seed. Why? Because it's my tournament and I can pick what I want. So the hometown Wisconsin Badgers will take on Little Rock. I don't know a darn thing about Little Rock, but they're gonna face off against the Badgers. Oh, my kid is interrupting this bracket. Yep, go ahead. Yep, library books got to go back in the backpack. So there we go. The Penn State Nittany Lions are going to face the Marquette Golden Eagles. And the Seton Hall, who knows what Seton Hall is, facing off against Northern Kentucky. I got a buddy from Kentucky from the military, so hey, he's a big KU fan. I had to pay up on a bet a couple years ago when they beat the Badgers. All right, so there you have it. You want to sponsor our bracket, you do so. But this country needs an NCAA tournament, and I'm going to give it to them. It's going to take a lot of my time here, but you know we're on a little hiatus from school here, starting on Wednesday. So I'm going to have the time to do it, and that means that we're going to play 63 games of this tournament. I'm going to try and stream them all to you, and let's get after this tournament.